This is The Sports Life.
Fernando takes the snap, gives to Hemby. Hemby drives his way. Touchdown, Indiana! Roman Hemby gets it in the end zone from 2 yards out, and Indiana's got the lead. Fernando takes the snap. They pressure him, the throw to the end zone. Touchdown! EJ! Wow, what a play, and it was actually Surratt who made the catch. But I'm telling you what now, that was some throw by Fernando Mendoza.
And welcome into the Sports Life. Will Tiemann here along with Dalton Shetler, the golden tones of Don Fisher. Well, Don Fisher in his career, which is plus 50 years now to Indiana, has done some of the most exciting basketball ever and some of the worst football ever played. But the last couple of years, he has witnessed a miracle. And right now, Indiana, after that win at Oregon, right, they are 6-0 for the year, 3-0 in the Big Ten, and for the first time ever, ranked third in the nation. Unbelievable.
How awesome is that?
It's awesome. It's awesome. Well, in terms of our show for this week, we're going to talk a little football, a lot of basketball. One of the things we're going to do, we're going to highlight some of the nice moments from Big Ten Media Day.
Yeah, we will do that. And also, you mentioned, talking Big Ten basketball, we're going to have Ant Wright join us. Of course, Ant Wright used to play in the Big Ten. Now he's got a great, successful YouTube channel where he's honestly one of the top analysts when it comes to Big Ten men's basketball. So we'll get some of his thoughts on the upcoming season. But also we're going to be joined by Max Ralph to talk about Penn State firing James Franklin. Max working at Penn Live. We'll get into some of the details and what went wrong in Happy Valley.
Well, sounds of the week, I'm guessing we're going to start with Penn State.
We most certainly are. We'll start with the athletic director, Pat Kraft. Bits and pieces from his press conference. This is how it started for Pat Kraft in Penn State.
Let me begin first by saying James Franklin is a tremendous man, husband, father, mentor to countless student athletes, and a good friend who has always carried himself with dignity and represented Penn State with absolute class. Beyond the wins and the accolades, James has been a trusted ambassador for this university and a friend of the Penn State community. We are all incredibly fortunate to have had James Franklin lead our football program for over a decade. And we will be forever grateful to him and his family. We wish them nothing, and I mean this, I wish them nothing but success in the next chapter of their lives. That said, at Penn State, we hold all our programs to the highest standards in our shared pursuit of excellence. My job is to evaluate everything and make hard decisions for what is in the best interest of our athletes, our program, and our department. Football is our backbone. We have invested at the highest level. With that comes high expectations. Ultimately, I believe a new leader can help us win a national championship, and now is the right time for this change. Terry Smith will serve as our interim head coach. Terry's a proud Penn Stater. He helped build this program as both a player and a coach, and he understands what it means to wear the blue and white. I am confident, and I can tell you he will pour his heart and soul into this role, and our players and fans deserve nothing less.
Well, there you go, the thoughts of Pat Kraft, the athletic director at Penn State, explaining why he let James Franklin go. Well, we'll see if it was a good move. I don't know. I think James Franklin did a lot of good. And if I get fired off this show, I don't want anybody to say how great I am. If I'm that great, I'd still be on the show, right?
That's right.
There you go. Okay.
Well, and the big thing, too, is, look, this taps into a conversation we've had before on this program, The Sports Life, with Amy Perko of the Knight Commission. Severance pay. $50 million is the buyout for James Franklin. Severance pay is one of the biggest crimes against the finances of college athletics today. And that is the latest example, and one of the biggest ever. It's the second biggest buyout we've seen. But in terms of how difficult of a decision was this for Pat Kraft at Penn State, this is what he had to say to that effect.
You know, I'm going to be very transparent with you all. This was extremely, extremely difficult. It's been a very difficult 48 hours. I felt after Saturday and sitting down and looking at everything that where we were and what was in the best interest of my kids, my student athletes, and my kids, meaning you guys know I call our athletes kids, my kids, and where the program was going, that this time we just had to make the hard decision. And look, as all of you know as leaders, when you lead an organization like this, when you've made the decision, you have to make the decision with a whole heart and with conviction. And so, I was going to sleep on it on Sunday, and but I knew it was the right course of action for us as a program, and more importantly for the team. So that's kind of how it transpired. You take data, right? This is not a 3-game thing. This is really diving into where we were as a program. What is the trajectory of this program? And you all know, and I'm not shy to admit it, I'm here to win national championship. And I believe our fans deserve that. And I wake up every day trying to achieve that goal.
There you go, Pat Kraft. More rationale for letting James Franklin go as Penn State's head football coach after losing 3 straight games. Man, we better never have a bad 3 weeks. We're done.
I was going to say, it just goes to show just what the climate is in college sports and society today. But, yeah, it's certainly an interesting one. And, of course, now you're halfway through the season, and for Penn State, they've got 6 games to go, and the questions are already churning. Who becomes the next head man for Penn State football? All signs so far seem to point to Matt Rule in the conference in Lincoln, Nebraska. He was asked a little bit about the opening, and here's what he had to say.
I came here for 2 reasons. I love the community here and wanted to live here, and I love it here. And I wanted to rebuild Nebraska football. And, Troy and I understand the steps that you need to take to make us Big Ten champions and national champions. This place is elite. And I want to be a great father, and I want to be a great college football coach. And so, I'm not going to talk a lot about job openings when they come. Maybe it's been a while here, but this is what happens when you win. I've dealt with it. We've won at Temple, and I dealt with it all the time. I've dealt with Baylor. I'm not going to talk about those things ever. I'm not going to talk about my contract here. I'm going to talk about the team. But yeah, I absolutely love it here, and I want us to continue to take the steps needed for us to turn this thing into a beast. And players all across the country want to come here. We have the best facilities. We have elite fans, and I'm just looking at the future. So. But again, I love that place. I love Pat. I love James Franklin. Sad that came to an end. I wish him the absolute best, but I'm really happy here and excited to get going this week on Minnesota.
Well, there's something refreshing about Matt Rule. I mean, I'm serious now. I mean, he just kind of lays it out there in what I would call human sense. Mm-hmm. I mean, you got family things to think about. You love where you are. Yeah, we're buddies. I went to school there. But there's just something about him that you kind of like.
Well, I was going to say, I think he's the most relatable coach there is, right? You listen to him and you're like, oh yeah, I have those same day-to-day struggles too. Like you can put yourself maybe in Matt's shoes a little bit better than most others. So that's the scenario right now with the big story from the Big Ten, the firing of James Franklin. Now there's another story in the Big Ten that we want to bring some attention to. Northwestern football hosts Purdue this weekend. Northwestern 4-2, by the way, but in this, they're honoring the 30-year anniversary of the 1995 Northwestern football team, and head coach David Braun talked a little bit about why that means so much to Wildcat football.
Looking forward to this Saturday. Opportunity for us to honor our 95 Rose Bowl team, honor a group of people that, it's one of the most iconic teams in all of college football history. Opportunity to honor an incredible coach, an incredible group of players, incredible group of coaches, and something that we've been looking forward to, and certainly looking forward to celebrating that group on Saturday. The best way that we can honor that group is having a great week of preparation and preparing ourselves to accomplish our mission this week, is to position ourselves to find a way to beat Purdue.
Well, that's some of the thoughts of Wildcat head coach David Braun. Well, it's going to be interesting, of course. The coach he's talking about is Coach Barnett. I can remember when the Wildcat football team was so bad, people are going, why are they in the Big Ten? Why are they even here? Well, that was an amazing year, and it's neat that they're honoring that. It's hard to believe it's been that many years. But the other thing that's interesting, the best linebacker in all the land, Pat Fitzgerald, was on that team, an All-American, and that'll be, I'm assuming he's going to be part of it, which will be his first appearance since he was relieved as head coach.
I was going to say, of course, there's a whole story with that, right? But David Braun did talk a little bit about that during the presser, that he hopes Pat Fitzgerald will be there to celebrate because he's one of the greatest to ever do it, especially in that uniform.
You got that one right. Well, when we come back with more of the Sports Life, we're going to talk a little more about what happened at Penn State with James Franklin. It's all coming up in just a moment.
Oh, yeah. Hey, Dad. Did you get a new haircut or something? A new shirt? You're looking good.
What happened?
A little fender bender?
How little?
A few days in the shop little. But thanks to Mom and our agent, we've already submitted a claim and can track the status right from the app. Auto owners pays what they owe without any hassle.
Sounds like simple human sense.
I'm fine, by the way.
Oh, yeah, I was gonna ask.
Ask your independent agent if auto owners make sense for you.
Every kid deserves a chance to feel safe, to have their own bed, to be loved and cared for. That's why I love my foster parents. They make me feel like part of the family.
Raise hope and foster dreams for one of 13,000 Michigan children in foster care. Visit michigan.gov/hope for a home or call 855-MICH-KIDS. That's 855-MICH-KIDS. Sponsored by the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services and the Michigan Association of Broadcasters.
Do you hear that? That's the sound of uncertainty lurking under your hood. You know the feeling. I know I do. That sudden sinking sensation when you see a check engine light or your car unexpectedly breaks down and you're faced with sky-high repair bills. It's time to shield against unexpected repairs with CarShield. CarShield is America's most trusted auto protection company and has an A rating with the Better Business Bureau. Don't let the fear of a breakdown keep you up at night. Trust the Shield, CarShield, and say goodbye to terrifying repair bills and hello to peace of mind. Your plan also comes with 24/7 roadside assistance, courtesy towing, rental car options, and so much more. Don't wait till it's too late. Call CarShield now before a breakdown. Protect your wallet. Protect your car with CarShield. Get our best protection ever. Call now. You'll thank me later. 800-965-1292. 800-965-1292. That's 800-965-1292.
We'll be back with more in a moment. This is The Sports Life.
Roxanne Watson is on a mission.
Hello, how are you doing today?
She wants more people to register as organ, eye, and tissue donors.
Are you an organ donor?
Yes, I am.
Yay. My goal is to sign up the most people in the United States.
What drives her? Roxanne's own life was saved through the gift of a heart transplant, made possible by an organ donor.
I decided that day that I was going to devote myself to the cause of organ donation and signing people up and honoring my donor by doing that.
Now she's back to health, and she's a powerful force helping to save lives every day through her work. Imagine what you can make possible by leaving behind the gift of life.
8 people can be helped with the major organs, and up to 50 people can be helped with a little bit of everything. And when you think about it that way, that you could help that many people, it's amazing. It really is.
Learn more and sign up as an organ, eye, and tissue donor. Go to organdonor.gov. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Health Resources and Services Administration.
And welcome back for more of the Sports Life. Will Tiemann here along with Dalton Shetler. Well, the Big Ten got a little shock, and Dalton, maybe even the whole college football world, when James Franklin, we had a bad 3-week stretch, but he had a pretty good run at Penn State, their second all-time winningest coach, just a year ago. He's in the semifinals of the college football playoffs. He's in the Final Four. He's won a Big Ten title, which is really hard to do. But at the end of the day, he lost 3 games in a row. And the university decided to part ways, and they're going to give him $50 million. We need that deal done.
You're not wrong.
But anyway, it caught everybody off guard, I guess, who's not in the middle of it all. And we've asked Max Ralph from Penn Live to join us. And Max, were you surprised by all this?
Yeah. And first of all, thanks for having me on, guys. But I would say surprised, maybe less so than stunned, because, and I know those can be used interchangeably in a lot of ways, but it kind of felt like, with all of the context of some of the transfer portal additions that Penn State made this year and the money they dumped into the coaching staff and getting Jim Knowles and the preseason ranking and everything, and considering the fact that James Franklin has struggled against top 10 teams and not gotten over the hump in the Big Ten since 2016, I think that there was always kind of coming in this idea that, hey, it's make or break this year. Like, if this thing doesn't work, maybe it's time for a new look. So surprised, like, I would say I always kind of saw it as a possibility. But I would say I'm stunned because, look, he's been the head coach here for 11 plus years. He's in his 12th season. He is an institution at Penn State. Like, he is synonymous with the name. So I think it's still been a little bit odd to not talk to him in a press conference this week, or for players to be talking about him not being here anymore. So it definitely was a little bit, it's been a little different, but I would say that there were always signs that it could happen this year.
Well, Max, what I find interesting about it, I mean, you talk about how long he's been there, and he's been successful. I mean, we talk about being in the playoff semifinals last year, and I get success is kind of an abstract thing, but you're talking about a program that you kind of word association put 10 wins next to their name each season. And when the playoff expanded, a lot of us, I think, did word association. We said, oh, Penn State's that team that will always kind of be in that 12-team picture. Of course, this year the wheels fell off a little bit, but if this isn't successful enough, and that's how I interpret the firing, does the standard have to be winning the national championship, or is there a middle room? Because it doesn't feel like there's much room.
No, I think you're spot on, and that's kind of why when athletic director Pat Kraft talked in his press conference on Monday, one of his answers to a question was, "Look, guys, I'm not shy about this. I'm here to win national championships." So yeah, James Franklin had a ton of success here and did a lot of things that even helped put Penn State in the position to have this kind of success, right? Like, a lot of things behind the scenes people don't realize. He fought for increased pool for his assistants, for a lot of facilities on campus. Like, there are a lot of reasons. There are a lot of things that James Franklin did to get Penn State here. But it got to a point where Pat Kraft thought, okay, we've reached the ceiling. We're not going to win a national championship with him. And Pat Kraft thought it was the right time to make the decision. And yeah, the success is hard to look away from, but it is true. I mean, he hadn't ever really gotten over the hump, and his teams, including the fact that you lose 3 in a row and you look kind of lethargic doing it, maybe there was an inclination that he lost the locker room and there was just no other way to proceed.
Well, following along that path, it's amazing because Will brought up that you're in the college football playoff semifinals a year ago. From when he got fired 15 days prior. I mean, there's the image kind of burned in our head that he's on the College Game Day set next to Nick Saban, who's dressed as the Nittany Lion. And 15 days fast forward, and he's gone. And I want to ask you, if that double overtime comes out differently, if the pass is not picked off from Penn State, and somehow Penn State ends up winning that game against Oregon, are we just in a completely alternate reality?
Oh, yeah. I mean, Penn State might be the number 1 team in the country in that reality, right? Like, I mean, Oregon was already number 6 coming into that game, and with how closely contested it was, how well Oregon played in a tough environment, Penn State's at worst number 2 behind Ohio State, and James Franklin certainly is still here, and I really don't think they lose those games against UCLA and Northwestern. It's a completely different world, but it had just gotten to the point where it seemed like that loss kind of broke James Franklin and Penn State to a further extent.
Well, whenever you see something like this, Max, where, and my word for it was shock when he was relieved of his duties, How close, A.D. Kraft and head coach Franklin, how close were they? Or were they not close at all?
No, I think they were close. I don't know that they were best friends by any means. I don't know that they were vacationing together or anything like that. But they were definitely close, and I think that's kind of the nature of when Pat Kraft came in here. I guess it was 3 years ago now. He made a very clear and immediate commitment to football, to James Franklin. Like I talked about earlier, all the money that has been pushed into this program is in large part thanks to Pat Kraft's aggressiveness in this program. Like he is very serious about winning here. And so that came with being close with James Franklin. I mean, they're they were together all the time, talking together all the time about things. On the field after games, they'd be next to each other. There's certainly a relationship there. And, then it was kind of telling after the Northwestern game this past weekend that they were not next to each other on the field after the loss. Kind of give you a hint as to how Kraft might be feeling. But no, there was certainly a close relationship there. If nothing more than just for work's sake, but definitely a relationship.
Max, as somebody who was around the program and kind of this unspooling of the Franklin era, I'm curious if you can give us some context, because I get the inclination that obviously Penn State was done with Franklin, and that's why this move was made. But to a degree, it kind of felt like Franklin was done with Penn State. And if you could kind of shed light and insight onto some of the comments fans had to say as he was walking off the field, and if you thought the same, that James Franklin just was kind of done there.
I think that's an interesting and honestly fair assessment of the situation, because, look, he didn't deserve to go out that way. Like I said, he did a lot of things that a lot of fans don't even really realize to help bring Penn State to this point. But he gets booed off the field. I mean, there's been some stuff said about his family that isn't great. And it was like people were yelling at him, calling him a fraud all the way into the locker room on Saturday. And it was a difficult scene. And as he came into the media room to address the beat for his press conference, he was just defeated. He didn't give a long opening statement like he usually does. He's definitely notorious for talking up at the podium for a long time, and he just was very matter of fact. Something that people who don't cover him every day wouldn't realize. He's very meticulous about how he addresses injuries, and is very coy as well. And somebody asked him about Drew Aller, and he very quickly said he's done for the season. Like, he just seemed like he was shaken, like he wasn't the same James Franklin that he was a month ago. And I think that losing another top 10 game hurt him. Like he loved this job. This job was his entire identity. But I do think it got to a point where he was just defeated.
Well, Max, as you look at this thing, they go to Iowa, have an off week, then they go to Columbus. You've mentioned they're without their starting quarterback. Then they host Indiana. They're playing pretty well. And then they go to East Lansing, got Nebraska, and then go out east to Rutgers. So, as you look at what's left, what are you thinking? How many wins are there for Penn State?
I think there's probably 2 more wins. I think realistically they probably finish 5-7, and it could come against a couple of different opponents. They've got a shot at Iowa this weekend. I do really like Ethan Grunkemeyer, the backup quarterback. I think he's talented. But look, this schedule that he's got in front of him is not kind at all. A night game at Kinnick, no matter what time it is, a game at Columbus, and then, Indiana at home, where they're a top 5 team right now and just stomping opponents, is not kind to a redshirt freshman with 5 games under his belt before this. And I don't know. I think there's still some talent on the field. I think the defense, coming into the year, we had questions about the depth there, but it's really shown in the past couple of weeks. I don't know that this team is going to be bowl eligible. It's hard for me to say that they get 3 more wins this season.
So now you got an associate head coach, Terry Smith. He's your interim head coach. Knowing that it's a rocky road in front, is there a front runner for this job?
Yeah, I think that it starts and ends with Matt Rule, right, over at Nebraska, because Rule and Pat Kraft work together at Temple, and they are friends. You asked me about James Franklin's relationship with Pat Kraft. Matt Rule and Kraft are buddies. And, I think Matt Rule's done a nice job in Nebraska, to get them into the spot that they're ranked right now. They were ranked for a couple of weeks last year. If they finish this season ranked, people are going to say, oh, hey, Matt Rule is doing some stuff over there. He definitely profiles as the top option right now, like without a doubt in my mind.
Well, Max, it was great talking to you. It's going to be interesting to see how this thing finishes for Penn State. It'll be interesting to see who the new head football coach is as well. So appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, guys.
There you go, some insight into what's going on with Penn State football from Max Ralph from Penn Live. Well, when we come back with more of the Sports Life, we're going to get into hoops. Going to kind of peek into what was going on at Big Ten Media Day in just a moment.
So, got one for you, boss.
Oh, yeah?
What's black, white, and dented all over?
I give up.
The company truck. I know, but thanks to our agent, we've already submitted an insurance claim and can track the status right from the app. Auto owners pays what they owe without any hassle.
Lucky for you, that's simple human sense.
Ask your independent agent if auto owners make sense for you.
Here's a real-life story that affects 50% of all of us out there. It's called divorce. If you've gotten divorced and now you're struggling to pay your bills and your credit card debts are completely out of control, you need to call this special debt relief hotline right now. We help people with all kinds of money problems caused by different life challenges, a divorce, a job loss, even heavy medical bills. All these life events can sometimes financially stress you out and cause you to get out of control. We help people get their lives back by showing them ways to consolidate and reduce their debt, in some cases for a fraction of what they owe. If your credit card balances are more than $10,000, call us and learn how to reduce your credit card bills and monthly payments now. Here's our number.
Paid for by Debt.com. Call now, 800-810-1584, 800-810-1584, 800-810-1584. That's 800-810-1584.
That ought to do it. Totally energy efficient.
Oh, no, not again. This time, we're getting help.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's the battle of energy efficiency improvements. In this corner, Mr. I can save money and do it on my own. And in this corner, Miss Let's Get It Done Right with some help. Fight! Or you could just go to avoidenergydrama.com. From sealing your home to helpful loan options, you'll find all the tips and tools you need to stop wasting energy and stay comfortable. Avoidenergydrama.com. Brought to you by Michigan Saves.
We'll be back with more in a moment. This is The Sports Life.
Unlike other health concerns, mental illness is not always easy to see. Depression won't show up on an eye chart, and you can't measure it on your bathroom scale. Sorting out a mental health concern is not something to attempt on your own. You won't find a bipolar disorder by looking at a thermometer. Like many other health conditions, help for mental illness takes professional diagnosis and treatment. Anxiety won't just go away under a stick-on bandage. So the sooner you seek treatment, the better. If you or a loved one has a mental health concern, don't go it alone. Find out what to do. For 24-hour free and confidential information and treatment referral, call 1-800-662-HELP. Learn more at samhsa.gov/support. That's samhsa.gov/support.
And welcome back for more of the Sports Life. Will Team in here along with Dalton Shetler. And don't forget, auto owners insurance, simple human sense. Ask your independent agent if auto owners make sense for you. Basketball season is right around the corner, and the Big Ten had its media days, and it's amazing to think there are 18 teams. That's a lot of media, isn't it?
It sure is.
It's a busy day. And the guy that's getting all the glory right now and all the sunshine on his head is Matt Painter. The 21st season he'll be leading the Boilermaker basketball team, and some believe this might be his best team. He's won 5 regular season titles, a couple Big Ten tournament titles, 16 NCAA appearances, 1 title game appearance. And it's been a long time, as we all know, Dalton, since the Big Ten has won one of those tournaments. Got to go back to 2000 with Michigan State. But a lot of people think this could be it.
It certainly could be, and I think that's some of the excitement. And Matt Painter actually at the Big Ten Basketball Media Days was live on the Big Ten Network with the crew, and he talked a little bit about preparing for that and the non-conference schedule ahead for the Boilermakers.
Yeah, no question. Like, we play Evansville, we play Oakland, we play Akron, we play Kent State, and a lot of people will look at things of that and say, well, you're not talking about, your high major teams. You're not talking about Memphis or Texas Tech or Marquette or Alabama or Auburn. But that's who you're going to face first if you have a good seed. Like, that's who you're going to face first. Look what Oakland did in the tournament. Coach Campion, how great he's been. And so look what they did in the tournament 2 years ago. So, that is the challenges that you're going to have, but especially some of those neutral court challenges. We got to go back into Alabama after they came to us, but now we play Auburn neutral. We're going to play Memphis neutral. We're going to play Wake Forest or Texas Tech neutral, and that's what you want. You want those challenges.
Matt Painter, he's going to get a bunch of them. And I don't know about you, but I really am excited to see what they look like on the court. We've heard the hype. We know what the piece of papers look like with the players listed on them. But it'll be fun to see what they look like together.
And how some of the new pieces come in, right? I think what makes you excited is you have such a great core returning. Braden Smith, Trey Kaufman-Wren, Fletcher Lawyer. But you add in some of this European flavor. Sky's the limit for Purdue.
Well, Dana Altman entering his 16th year with the Oregon Ducks, second year in the Big Ten. He's had a good run there, 10 NCAA tournaments. But last year was interesting for those guys. Kind of good, kind of not so good at times. And I'm not so sure if style of play and travel didn't have a little bit to do with that.
Oh, I think that's fair. I think it's a little bit of a learning curve for Oregon and Dana Altman. And Dana at the Big Ten Media Days, also live on the Big Ten Network stage, was asked by former coach Bruce Weber, what keeps him going this many years into the coaching practice?
Why do you keep doing it? I know you love it. It's part of our lives. It's hard to get away from it. But what drives you right now?
Well, I appreciate that, Bruce, especially coming from you. We had a lot of battles back in the day.
Yes, we did. Some one-possession games.
A lot of one-possession games. But, no, I love coaching. I love going to the gym. Games are torture, but practice is a lot of fun. I enjoy being around the guys. My grandson Carter enjoys it, and so no, I love coaching. I always have. Been really fortunate. Been at really good schools, Kansas State, Creighton, and now at Oregon. I've been luckier than most. Had really good staffs. Guys have stayed with me. Coach McKenna, 25 years. Coach Fish, 20. Stubbs back. Josh is back. I've been really fortunate to have guys stay with me. But, it all goes back to players. And at Oregon, Creighton, we had really good players. We've had really, really good guys that want to compete, want to be part of a team, really unselfish. So, in that respect, 37 years, been really fortunate.
37 years as a head coach. When I got to meet him, Oregon was on a very, very long road trip, right? Mm-hmm. And I asked him how it was going, and I know you love your dog, but here's the answer I did not expect to hear. He goes, well, man, I miss my dog.
Hey, as a dog owner, I get it. You got a special bond with those pups. That's pretty cool. A new face for the Big Ten Conference, Ben McCollum, the new head man for the Hawkeyes, took to the stage as well, and for the Big Ten Network, had these comments about the new job.
Once you get there, what do you do with the opportunity? I think is the way we're trying to view it. Is that's great that you accomplish that. But if you don't do anything with that opportunity, then, if you create a sense of arrival for yourself, it's not going to work out. And so we want to make sure that not only do we get that job, but we're able to perform and win at a high level consistently. But, yeah, being in the state of Iowa and where I was born, it is pretty cool.
Well, he was at Drake 1 year, only won 31 games.
Not too shabby.
Not too shabby. 31-4. Of course, he won the Missouri Valley, and he knows the territory. And it'll be interesting to see how that all works out. Well, Mick Cronin knows all about the Big Ten. Spent a lot of time at the University of Cincinnati. Knows about the Midwest. He's entering his 6th year with the Bruins. Been to 4 tournaments, won 1 Pac-12, and it looks to me like he is retooled pretty well.
Oh, I think so. UCLA, one of the top favorites for the Big Ten towards the top of the conference for the upcoming season. And you mentioned it's a bit of an adjustment last year for Mick Cronin and the Bruins getting to the Big Ten, but Mick Cronin does have Midwest ties, and it feels like, oh, how quickly he forgot what Midwest life was like, and he was quickly reminded of it on the road in the Big Ten. Here's what he had to say during the Big Ten basketball media days.
I think, coaching in some of the arenas it was what I thought it would be. Illinois was awesome. Indiana, Purdue. This year we get to go to Michigan State. So there wasn't a whole lot that really surprised me. I knew the coaching was great. Some of the atmospheres were awesome. And some of the weather's terrible.
Really?
We're spoiled. Trust me, we're spoiled. Every day, Bruce, when I go to work, I turn left on Sunset Boulevard. Okay? And there's not much better than that.
Mick Cronin, the head coach at UCLA, Sunset Boulevard. That's a good road, I guess. Their 12th preseason. But the one thing you didn't mention, it takes a long time to drive anywhere from point A to point B. I don't care what boulevard you are if you're in Los Angeles.
That is a good point.
Well, Tom Izzo is entering his 31st season. What a career he's had. You could go on and on about all the things he has accomplished. I'll just say that he won the Big Ten regular season last year by 3 games, which shocked everybody, I think. Not picked to repeat as the champion, but he wasn't picked to win it last year either. So he's done a lot of good things. He's the all-time winningest coach in the history of the league, which is saying something. And nobody's taken one team to more consecutive NCAA tournaments than him. So we can just stop there. Oh, and by the way, he did win a national championship. Oh, there you go.
There's a pretty long book on the book of Tom Izzo. And that caused him to reflect a little bit and talk about the culture and the program he's built over 3+ decades at Michigan State when he was at the Big Ten basketball media days.
Well, I bet you Bruce would agree when him and I were assistants to Gene and Judd. Those were tough days, man. This is a piece of cake compared to those days. But I think he'd agree. You know, it kind of taught me what I always believed, that chemistry and culture matter. I mean, we were not as talented. You know that, Bruce. And I say that not disrespecting my team. It's just that we weren't as talented as a team, top to bottom. But we did have 10 guys. We had no locker room issues. We had no NIL issues. We had no people that were jealous of people. And we played a lot of people, which is hard to do, as you would know. And one coach was just in charge. We would meet before the game trying to go over how we're going to play them. But it was a fun year. And why did it end? Why did we got to start a new season?
Tom Izzo talking about getting ready for his 31st season. And he always jokes with his buddy Bruce Weber about their former bosses, Gene Cady and Judd Heathcote. 2 really nice guys, but they didn't always look so nice game day, did they?
That's fair.
Can be a little cranky at times. Well, as we continue to talk about Big Ten hopes real quick, AP Top 25 preseason. Purdue 1, Michigan 7, UCLA 12, Illinois 17, Michigan State 22, and Wisconsin 24. We had some other teams get votes. Oregon just missed getting into the top 25. Ohio State, USC, Washington, Iowa, and even Indiana got a vote. So at the end of the day, some activity, 12 out of the 18, not too bad.
Not too bad at all, and it just goes to show it's going to be another wild year of Big Ten basketball.
Well, when we come back with more of the sports life, Ant Wright's going to join us. He knows a lot about hoops, especially when it comes to the Big Ten. Our conversation about basketball will continue in just a moment.
Oh, yeah. Hey, Dad. Did you get a new haircut or something? A new shirt? You're looking good.
What happened?
A little fender bender?
How little?
A few days in the shop little. But thanks to Mom and our agent, we've already submitted a claim and can track the status right from the app. Auto Owners pays what they owe without any hassle.
Sounds like simple human sense.
I'm fine, by the way.
Oh, yeah, I was going to ask.
Ask your independent agent if Auto Owners makes sense for you.
So I graduated last year and got a job. Sweet! but it got boring. I didn't really have a purpose. Then I started volunteering with Community Action. It's a statewide network with 29 agencies across Michigan. Community Action helps people with food, housing, utilities, childcare, senior services, you name it. I found my purpose, helping people, changing lives. Won't you join me? Call 1-855-MI-ACTION or go to MichiganCommunityAction.org. Sponsored by Michigan Community Action and Michigan Association of Broadcasters.
This is a potter's field. When people can't pay for their funerals, they are buried here. It is a lonely, desolate place, littered with unmarked headstones. No one visits. No one leaves flowers. But it doesn't have to be that way. For as low as $1 a day, you can ensure your family will have the money to pay your funeral expenses. We offer burial insurance plans that pay up to $30,000. Considering the average funeral costs more than $10,000, that's peace of mind for your family. There are no medical exams, your rates won't increase, and your policy cannot be canceled as long as you make your premium payments. Call now to get approved in minutes and ensure your final resting place is more than just a pauper's grave in a potter's field.
800-562-2407. 800-562-2407. 800-562-2407. That's 800-562-2407. Paid for by Final Expense Direct.
We'll be back with more in a moment. This is The Sports Life.
We all make choices. When it comes to alcohol, kids make choices whether to drink or not.
Bye, Dad.
Bye-bye.
Remember, I'm going to Alex's party tonight and sleeping over.
Hey, have a seat for a second. Remind me about that party again?
Alex is just...
And adults make choices whether to talk about it. That's true of parents and every other trusted adult in a kid's life. Kids want to know our expectations when it comes to alcohol and other drugs. They want guidance and honest answers to their questions. And it makes a difference when the message is consistent and part of everyday conversations. So talk with your kids and help lead them on a positive path. Because when you talk, they hear you. For more information about talking with your kids about underage use of alcohol and other drugs, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
Welcome back for more of the Sports Life. We'll team in here along with Dalton Shetler. And obviously, last segment, we began our coverage of Big Ten hoops, which should be a good year. Well, if you're into social media, Ant Wright is one of the most visible people that you could come across, and he's really good at kind of pulling back the curtain and letting you know what may or may not be true. Ant is joining us. Welcome to the show again, Ant. And I guess the best way to start this off, everybody says Purdue's great. They're number one preseason in the country. Is that possible?
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty legit. And, for a college team, I don't think there's a team out there who has weaknesses. No, I don't think there's a team out here who has no weaknesses. I would say, Purdue is one of those teams that has very little weaknesses. I would think their biggest weak spot is length and athleticism in the backcourt. But, outside of that, if they get a good matchup and they avoid certain types of teams, like this team can win a national championship, and I'm not going to be shocked at all. They are legit. They had, two glaring issues last year. That was one, having a secondary ball handler, and the other was depth at the 5 spot because Daniel Jacobson got hurt like in October or early November. But they not only have DJ back, who was like 7'3", 7'4", they also got a transfer in named Oscar Clough, who's very, very good. And they have a couple guards from last year who have also developed. And they have Omer Meyer, who's a freshman, who's also going to help with ball handling. So they have shored up a lot of things that really hurt them last season.
Well, Ant, you said they could win a national championship, and you mentioned they have to avoid certain types of teams. What type of team do they need to avoid?
The teams that we've seen them get handled by in the past, the backcourt gets overwhelmed with elite athleticism, and we saw that in early December against Penn State. We saw that against Marquette, where we just see them in situations where athletically they're just not able to overcome some things that have nothing to do with coaching. It's just physical ability. If we go back and look at the national championship game between them and UConn, Fletcher Lawyer's out there against Stephon Castle. Fletcher's probably was older than him by 2 or 3 years, but it felt like a little boy against a grown-ass man. And Fletcher couldn't really do anything. And I think those are the games where they need to avoid. You need to avoid playing against some really big guard, wing, future pro type of players, which is hard to avoid the deeper you go into the NCAA tournament. But if they could find a way to mitigate that, I think they have a very good shot at competing for a national title.
Well, there's a lot of teams to talk about, and of course we don't have that much time, right? You got 18 teams now you got to try and dive through. Right. But a lot of people have Purdue 1 in that media preseason poll. If a voter had anybody else, we saw them pick the Michigan Wolverines. What's the case for Michigan, and can they upend Purdue?
Yeah, I mean, Michigan, they lose Danny Wolf to the NBA. Vlad Golden ends up graduating. The Area 51, very, very good duo down low. But Dusty May and Michigan have reloaded their front court. They have Yaxel Lendenberg from UAB, very, very, very balanced player. I thought he was going to go to the NBA. I mean, we're looking at someone who would have probably been a late first-round pick. For someone like that to come back to college, we wouldn't have seen that 2 or 3 years ago and beyond. So he's very good. They're able to get Morris Johnson from Illinois, very, very high motor, very good player. One of the more underrated acquisitions from any team in the country, I think, is Ade Mara, getting him from UCLA, 7'3", 7'4", super long. If you're a film junkie and you want to watch UCLA, Wisconsin, I mean, he literally put UCLA on his back and just won that game and just outplayed Nolan Winter and Stephen Crowell. And he's very good in terms of shot blocking and doing all those things. What hurt them last year too was they didn't really have a point guard, and that's why you saw Danny Wolf play so much points, because they didn't have a point. They did have Trey Donaldson, who was the de facto point guard, but Trey was more score first. He wasn't set the table, initiate, run the offense. This year they have a point guard in Elliot Cadeau, who was going to be a pass first guy, set the table, control the pace. He's going to be able to control the ball this season. They have Trey McKinney. LJ Kaysen should take a big, big leap. Roddy Gale had a really good NCAA tournament. We'll see how he fits in. Namari Burnett. These guys are, Namari's in his 5th or 6th year, so he's all obsessed about winning. They have a lot of pieces, but, Dusty and Steph, they do have, I'm not going to say a problem, but they do have to solve a very jammed puzzle, because you could play, they probably have about 8 guys who could start, and you can't play everybody at the same time. So figuring out the correct rotation is going to be huge.
Well, Ant, I'm going to do something unfair to you. I'm going to put you on about 60 seconds here as we take a look at that next tier, just because we're falling short on time.
You're good.
Media preseason poll, they put UCLA 3, Illinois 4, Oregon 5, and the defending Big Ten champs, Michigan State 6. Do you like the order? Would you switch something up in a short window? What do you see there that pops off to you?
UCLA got Donovan Dent And I believe in Mick Cronin as a coach. He's going to get those guys playing top-notch defense. Illinois, we're talking about also a very new team. They're going to have 4 or 5 guys from the Balkans. They're missing Ty Rogers. He's an absolute dog. I don't know who they're going to have to play perimeter defense outside of Colin Boswell. So they got to be able to find that. Michigan State, this year is going to be really interesting for me personally to watch because I want to know what's real. They just won the league by 3 games, but the 3 or 4 years prior to that, them, sandwiched between winning and Cassius didn't look that great, right? But you saw guys like Trey Holloman and you saw guys like Jace Richardson really step up. They don't have those guys back anymore. Cohen Carr's got to get better. Fierce has got to get better. Jackson Kohler has really got to get better, or else you're going to see more of that 2020 to 2024 Michigan State, not the one that we saw during Cassius and what we saw last season.
Well, Ant, real quick before you go, people would like to follow all of your work. Where do they go?
It's Ant Wright on all platforms, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Twitter, which is now X. Just hit me up on there. I also run SpartanShadows.com for Michigan State. There's Basic Blues Nation for Penn State, BlueBy90.com for Michigan, Armchair Illini for Illinois. So I do have some websites out there for you to consume some content about your favorite teams. But either way, if you follow me, subscribe on there, and if you engage with me, I am happy to engage with you right back. As long as things are super respectful and we're able to have good banner on there.
And as always, appreciate it. Hope to talk to you soon.
Definitely. Have a good one, you guys.
Well, Dalton, it's hard to imagine we're hit the halfway point of football and we're teeing up basketball already. Well, when we come back with more of the Sports Live, our parting shots in just a moment.
So, got one for you, boss.
Oh, yeah?
What's black, white, and dented all over?
I give up.
The company truck. I know, but thanks to our agent, we've already submitted an insurance claim and can track the status right from the app. Auto owners pays what they owe without any hassle.
Lucky for you, that's simple human sense.
Ask your independent agent if auto owners make sense for you.
So I graduated last year and got a job. Sweet! But it got boring. I didn't really have a purpose. Then I started volunteering with Community Action. It's a statewide network with 29 agencies across Michigan. Community Action helps people with food, housing, utilities, childcare, senior services, you name it. I found my purpose, helping people, changing lives. Won't you join me? Call 1-855-MI-ACTION or go to MichiganCommunityAction.org. Sponsored by Michigan Community Action and Michigan Association of Broadcasters.
If you have diabetes, listen up. If you have insurance, you can qualify for a continuous glucose monitor. With a CGM, you can continuously track your levels and trends and spend more time in range, significantly lowering your A1C. More importantly, a CGM eliminates the one thing most people with diabetes hate: painful finger sticks. Order your new continuous glucose monitor today. If you use insulin and if you've seen your diabetes care provider within the last 6 months, you may qualify for your own CGM right now. We'll do all the insurance paperwork and deliver your new CGM at little or no out-of-pocket cost to you. Medicare and most insurances will cover your CGM, so don't wait. Have your insurance handy and call the Aptiva Medical CGM Health Hotline right now.
800-948-6912. 800-948-6912. 800-948-6912. That's 800-948-6912.
We'll be back with more in a moment. This is The Sports Life.
Anybody ready for a burger?
I'm State Fire Marshal Rich Schmillo, reminding everyone to think safety first when it comes to outdoor grilling, whether it's charcoal or gas. Never overload your grill with food. Excess fat and grease will create large flames. Grill outdoors and never inside or in a garage. Never leave a grill unattended and always keep a fire extinguisher nearby. For more tips on safe grilling, visit the Bureau of Fire Services website at michigan.gov/BFS.
Medicaid and CHIP offer free or low-cost health coverage for children and teens. Hospital and doctor visits, prescriptions, shots, and more are covered. That's peace of mind for parents if a child is sick or gets injured. And parents may now be eligible for Medicaid too, even if they've applied in the past. Enrollment is always open. Visit InsureKidsNow.gov or call 1-877-KIDS-NOW. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
And welcome back for more of the Sports Life. Will Teeman here along with Dalton Scheller. Fun show this week. Interesting discussion about what's going on with Penn State football. Little warm-up for Big Ten hoops. And now we've worked our way to our parting shot. So, as always, Dalton gets to go first.
Well, and by the way, if you missed any of that, make sure you give us a follow at Sports Life Now on Twitter or X. It's, again, at Sports Life Now. We'll have everything posted there. But for my parting shot, I want to circle back to really what was the headliner of the show. We talked a lot about Penn State firing James Franklin. We talked about it with Max Ralph. We heard from athletic director Pat Kraft during his press conference. And if we analyze this, I know we talked a little bit about the landscape of this with Max, but if you're talking about a program that is almost consistently in the playoff hunt in Penn State, competing at the top of the conference in the Big Ten, a conference, by the way, that boasts the last two national champions as well in Ohio State and Michigan, and you're constantly in that playoff conversation. Last year you were in the semifinals. If that is not good enough, and it's so not good enough that you pay $50 million to just say, James, get out of here, we want to go a different direction, I think this has to end with a national championship for Penn State for this to be a worthwhile move. I think if you're in the playoff semifinals and that isn't meeting the standard for you, the standard absolutely has to be a national championship. And for the bill to come at $50 million just to send James away, that national championship has to come soon. Now, we heard from Pat Kraft, that's the goal. They're not playing around. Penn State is very committed and dedicated on pursuing the national championship. But if they don't get it in the next few years, this move seems hard to justify in excess of $50 million to get rid of James Franklin.
Here's the good news for me and you, Dalton. We don't have to justify
That's
it.
right.
Okay, my parting shot deals with the halfway point of the Big Ten football season. Every year, we go through all this preseason stuff. We think we got a handle on this, and you never do. Things always seem to happen. So the fact that we have two unbeaten conference teams at this point, I think that was an easy guess. Ohio State being one, I would have never guessed Indiana. I also would have not guessed that USC, Oregon, Nebraska, and Washington are all 5-1, and that USC is 3-1 and in third place in this league. Nor would I have guessed that I would talk about a group of teams that are 0-3 in the conference, which would include Rutgers, Michigan State, Purdue, Wisconsin, and, of course, Penn State. And would any of us have really thought that at the halfway point, two Big Ten coaches would be relieved of their jobs?
It's wild.
And Dalton, wild's probably a good way to term that. Well, that's a wrap for our show for this week. As always, we appreciate everybody who tuned in. And we should also know that you can find us wherever you find your podcasts, like SoundCloud, Spotify, and Apple. And make sure to check us out and hit subscribe. As always, thanks to the Big Ten Network. The Sports Life is produced by Dalton Scheller, and our executive producer is Wendy Hart. So on behalf of Dalton Scheller, I'm Will Teeman, and thanks for your time.